Good evening and welcome to the 2025 Capital University Alumni Awards Program. Please welcome to the stage your Capital University Director of Alumni Engagement, Mrs. Amy Dewar.
Phew. A respected colleague shared these words of wisdom with me. Stand up straight, pull your shoulders back, make eye contact, smile, breathe, you've got this. So here we go. Good evening. Welcome to Capital's annual Alumni Awards Dinner. My name is Amy Dewar, and I serve as Director of Alumni Engagement. It is my privilege to share a welcome this evening. Tonight's dinner is sponsored by Capital's Office of Alumni Engagement and the Alumni Advisory Board. The purpose of the Capital University Alumni Advisory Board, AAB, is to encourage lifelong commitment and involvement among alumni and friends in volunteer activities that support the mission of the university. Our board maintains representations from each of the 6 preceding decades and is comprised of alumni who evidence an appreciation of support for the university with consideration given to a variety of factors, including age, gender, ethnic diversity, geographical location, vocation, and colleges or schools of the university in which they were enrolled as students. If you have an interest in serving on the Alumni Advisory Board, please let me know. As someone who works closely with the board, I know what a dedicated and hardworking group of alumni volunteers we have, and I would like to thank them for giving their time and talents to Capital. We are grateful for all the current and former Alumni Advisory Board and Board of Trustees members in attendance today. Please give them a round. We are honored to have President Jared Tice, Capital University's 18th president, with us tonight. We'll be welcoming him to the podium in just a few moments. Finally, I would like to recognize the members of the Office of Alumni Engagement, the University Advancement Team, Knox Creative, Elior Catering, and Capital's Meeting and Event Services staff. Homecoming would not be possible if not for their incredible work. Please join me now in a round of applause for these hardworking members of our Capital family. I'd like to invite Alumni Advisory Board President Liz Yoder to the podium as she'll serve as our MC this evening.
Thank you, Amy. There are many graduating classes represented in our audience today. One of these classes is celebrating a very special reunion this weekend. It's been 50 years since these individuals attained their status as alumni of Capital University. I'd like to ask all the members of the class of 1975 to stand so that the rest of us can acknowledge this very special milestone in your lives. Thank you. I'm pleased to introduce President Dr. Jared Tice, Capital University's 18th president. A native of Mid-Ohio Valley, President Tice is a graduate of Concord University, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. He holds a Master of Arts in Educational Leadership with a focus on higher education administration and a graduate certificate in higher education and marketing from West Virginia University. He earned a doctorate in higher education leadership from Maryville University in St. Louis and completed the prestigious Institute of Educational Management at Harvard University's Graduate School of Education. With extensive senior-level experience at small colleges for nearly 2 decades, Dr. Tice comes to Capital from Catawba College in Salisbury, North Carolina, where he most recently served as Senior Vice President and Chief Strategy Officer. Before that, he served as Senior Vice President for the College Experience and Dean of Students. He has also held positions at Barton College and West Virginia Northern Community College. He and his partner Erica, an elementary school teacher, and their family reside about a mile from campus and are actively engaging with the Capital, Bexley, and Greater Columbus communities. He enjoys cooking, attending as many student activities as possible, and has 2 dogs, Finn and Gus, and recently adopted 2 neighborhood cats, Swifty and Crawley. Please welcome Dr. Tice.
What an impressive bio. Now, actually, what I want you to know about me is not those things. I want you to know that I'm a son of a Boilermaker and a farmer and a school teacher who just happened to go to school when they were 5 years old and never left. And now I have the great good fortune of being the 18th president of Capital University because of that wonderful education and the support of my families. And this is a bit of a homecoming for me, too. It's the closest I've been to our family farms that we've had in our family since 1820 in St. Mary's, West Virginia, since I went off to college. And so I know what it's like to steward something very old and important to you. And I'm looking forward to celebrating more of homecoming with you all throughout the next day or so. And what a great homecoming weekend it already has been. I've really enjoyed hearing your CAPFAM stories and watching you reconnect with your friends and classmates. And regardless of when you graduated or how long it's been since you've been back at Capital, you'll always be an integral part of our family here. At last night's dinner, celebrating the 50th reunion, I think we wore them out. There's not very many here. They had a good time last night in the class of 1975, and today's 50-year club luncheon. I was amazed by the number of people who talked about the transformative experiences they had here at Capital. I had heard firsthand information from members of the Male Glee Club as they performed the alma mater for us. Another individual mentioned that she was not a student in the conservatory, but joined the chapel choir and is still today singing and performing. I heard firsthand about the transformative power of a faculty member and how they changed the individual's career path in life and how their support guided a student in a direction that they had never even possibly imagined. These are not extraordinary stories. What I've come to find is these are just regular Capital stories, ones that have impacted your lives over and over again. I also met an individual who hadn't been back to campus in over 45 years and felt a direct connection with his classmates, and they picked right back up from where they last saw each other after graduation. These are just a few of the stories about what it means to be a member of the Capital family. I'm sure each of you, one of you here tonight, has similar stories, and I look forward to hearing them when we engage in conversation. Similar experiences and transformative stories continue to occur in the lives of today's Capital students. Capital remains a place where our students' success is measured much more by far more than their academic success, but their limitless possibilities. And we have a couple good things that we want to share with you tonight as well. So most recently, our law school was recognized by Pre-Law magazine by one of the best schools for practical training, preparing attorneys, a top school for public service, and a top school for family law. And if you know anything about Capital Law and our Capital Law grads, that is exactly quintessential about what we do at Capital Law School. And our university, just last week, was identified by a group from the Colleges of Distinction. This is an opportunity that we took advantage of to make application for. They reviewed all of our data and information, and we were awarded a College of Distinction classification for this academic year. Others in the state of Ohio that have this designation are places like Denison, Kenyon, Xavier, and Miami of Ohio, and Capital now joins those ranks. They also recognize outstanding colleges of distinction among academic programs in nursing, education, and business, and also in student support services for our work with our international students and in career development. These are just a few items of excellence that I think we should all be proud of as you share Capital with your colleagues and friends. We have a lot of alumni out there in the world doing amazing, wonderful things, and we are truly grateful for those who have come back to share your experiences with us and engage in the Cap Fam during this homecoming week. Again, thank you for your continued support. Thank you for your commitment to Capital. Thank you for continuing to keep it in your heart. I look forward to working with all of you to help tell our story, raise our reputation, continue to grow our enrollment, and strengthen this institution so it can be shared with future generations of CAP alums. And then finally, I invite you, our alum, to connect with us by staying involved, sharing your experience, and supporting our mission. Thank you for being ambassadors of Capital throughout the community and network. We appreciate you encouraging prospective students and parents to check us out and consider the superior student experience that we're delivering here at Capital. It is the dedication of our faculty, staff, and the loyalty of alumni like you who continue to believe in our mission and give back by paying it forward. Thank you for joining us tonight, and welcome home. I'd now like to introduce the Reverend Mary Ann Sifke to the podium for the invocation. Reverend Sifke.
Dear friends, let us pray. God of love and grace, of comets that soar and stars that radiantly shine, we gather this evening with grateful hearts for friendships that have endured miles and time, for callings that have taken us from ocean to ocean, and for this university community that still beats in every heart. As we celebrate the extraordinary lives and leadership of Capital alumni, remind us that the light of this place, its spirit of faith, learning, and service, is not confined to memory alone, but lives on in every act of compassion, in every word of truth, and in every heart. Bless those we honor tonight, whose lives are a reflection of you, whose work brings hope and healing to the world. And bless this university community, that it may continue to be a place where hearts are stirred, minds are opened, and lives are forever transformed. We ask this all in the name of Jesus, our champion and our friend. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Sifke. Our student ambassadors will dismiss your table when it's time for you to go to the buffet. We'll be back in a short while to continue with our program, and please enjoy your dinner.
Please welcome back to the stage Alumni Advisory Board President Liz Yoder.
We're going to get our program back underway, but please continue to enjoy the remainder of your meal and the dessert. It's excellent. So on to the awards. I would like to quickly share the criteria for the Alumni Advisory Board considers in making its selections. The Distinguished Young Alumnus Award is given for identifiable career and community accomplishments, or excellence in his or her specific professional field or endeavor, or exceptional contributions to volunteerism or service to the university, the church, or society. The nominees for these awards must have been out of college for less than 15 years. And now, let's introduce our Distinguished Young Alumnus Award recipient for 2025.
If I was to describe Evan, I would describe him with, he's empathetic, he's incredibly talented. His talent is dwarfed by his passion for others. He's a very godly man. He's a veteran-like presence in a very young person's body.
I think he is an old soul. He is someone who uses the word Davenport and commode, and these are not things of his generation, so I definitely feel like he is wise beyond his years.
I think Evan is really generous with his time. I think he's an extremely selfless person. I think he is possibly the hardest working person I know.
I think the thing that drives his passion is truly his belief in other people. He is a very positive person. He is very passionate about uplifting others. He's very detailed and organized. And as the communication director for me, as a brand new superintendent, that was equally wonderful and annoying at times. But never did his passion to do things the right way and elevate the stories of others waver.
Every summer, kind of during high school and during college, or at least most of the summers, Evan and I would go on the church mission trip. You know, our church that we grew up in is like a shared family for us, and you know, getting to see those people coming in and out every year, it's really special.
So we have lots of stories about Evan. Those of you that don't know, he has a motorcycle and it's kind of tiny. So, you know, he'll come in and we always joke the children's book Ralph S. Mouse is here, you know, but I think the funniest stories with Evan are when he gets like tickled about something or he finds something hilarious, like you can't see his top lip. It kind of goes away. And I think we all find great joy when he sees something that's, you know, funny, or, you know, a kid tells a story and he gets to retell it.
As a superintendent during COVID, obviously very difficult for everyone. It was a lot of long hours and communication was imperative. We changed everything we did for every student and every family. And Evan was there every moment. We worked 14, 16, 18-hour days at times. But beyond just the communication side, he was there serving meals with the cooks. We did graduation in people's yards. We put a mobile unit together that Evan set up. We had backdrops, we had all of the flair, we had music, we did pomp and circumstance in people's driveways. And when I look back on that, I just think of how integral he was to that. And those were moments for families that were huge.
He is fourth generation Capital student. So his great-grandpa went to Capital, his grandpa went to Capital, his mom went to Capital, and then he went to Capital, and then also his little sister went to Capital. He's like a poster boy example of like a successful person coming out of Capital University, using the skills that they learned at Capital to then go and like serve the public or serve the community.
His earnest commitment to help other people and a service above self. I really think he views his work almost like a Navy SEAL, and if he can shine a light on the good works of others, then it's a job well done. That's rare in our world, and it's extremely rare when you're as young as he is, and to be as capable as he is at such a young age. You know, we are the 23rd largest employer in Franklin County, 21,000 students, 119 square miles, 16,000 miles traveled a day on our buses, and he is the guy. For someone to be as young as he is and to be as competent and good at his craft, but continuing to grow, is a rare, rare find.
He would start his days at about 6 or 6:30 in the morning. He'd drive to Columbus to the old Crew Stadium to go do his internship with the crew for 3 or 4 hours in the morning. He'd come to Capital. He would take his full semester's worth of classes. And then he would come close the library with me on campus, and closing the library was at midnight. So he would finish his day at about midnight, drive back home, and then start it all over again for the rest of the week. And then on top of that, Evan was figuring out how to make time for his friends, for his grandpa was in assisted living at the time. He was making time to go visit him. It was really cool that he was able to do all that, and I'm still impressed by it to this day.
As a school leader, superintendent for the last 10 years, I've hired maybe 1,000 people. I cannot name one, and that's not hyperbole. He was the greatest hire in my career. He changed a lot about how I viewed leadership, even at such a young age. And I can attribute a lot of my personal and professional growth to just the friendship, the guidance, the mentorship, and just the presence he had in the time we were together.
Evan, congratulations on winning this very deserved award. You are probably the hardest working person that I know. Sarah and I are always incredibly impressed at your ability to make time for the people in your life. while also being as busy as you are between your job and between church and just all the different people you know, and somehow finding time for everybody. I think you are a shining example of a young alumni from Capital University, and I think you are doing lots of great service to help our community. Congratulations again.
Evan, it is an honor to be able to speak on your behalf, to talk of the amazing accomplishments you've had in your career. But it is more of an honor to do this as your friend, as your colleague, to think of the impact that you've had not only on me, but many of the others that are in your stead, that you're helping every single day. I'm proud of your accomplishments this far, but I'm even more excited for what the rest of your career will look like and the thousands of people you are positively impact. So congratulations from your friend. I'm very proud of you.
Evan, you are amazing, and you inspire others every single day with not just what you do, but how you do it. And as I get to be your colleague every single day, it is a privilege and an honor to call you a friend, to be a professional with you. And I know that this is only the beginning of your journey professionally, and I couldn't be prouder, and you couldn't be more deserving. And I promised I wouldn't cry, so I'm not, but I love you and I mean it.
Please welcome to the stage our newest distinguished young alumnus, Evan Debo.
Good evening. I'd like to thank President Tice, Amy, Advisory Board President Yoder, and the Alumni Board for this honor and for hosting tonight's forum. Additionally, I'd like to congratulate the rest of the slate of our honorees this evening for their recognitions as well. You know, working on the other side of public relations, many moons back at Capitol here, I intentionally chose the other side of the camera in doing this, so I have to admit this is a little bit foreign to me. But in the 12 years since I graduated from Capitol, I've tried to search and find pathways to make a difference in public relations efforts, in public education, putting skills to the test once acquired and experiences gained right here at one college in Maine and Bexley. I think back on the fortune for the friends I've made, the experiences that have since launched career opportunities I could only dream of, and to have such model practitioners and instructors here in my public relations program, and Dr. Lettingham and Dr. Bruning and countless others during my undergraduate studies. Post-graduation, friends like Jeremy you saw in the video, and just tremendous, unbelievable educators and humans, and Dr. Jamie Lusher and Mr. Jonathan Davis you saw in the video as well too, have just served as just incredible rocks for me, and mentors who have helped molded me into who I am today. And finally, of course, you don't fully take inventory of your blessings without just being incredibly prideful and mindful of your blessings in the form of your friends and your family. And I'm blessed to have so many of these folks here with me today. As we wrap up here, I leave you with a personal reflection. I believe the role as an alumni and our collective role as alumni play in something much greater than individual accolades. When you pick up that Next Cap magazine, you look at social media posts, you look at the monthly e-blasts, or see, again, any other kind of content out there on alumni from this university. Make note of their individual accomplishments, yes, but become fixated on the graduating year that follows. That parenthetical reference for the graduation year is a symbol of something much larger, I believe. The individual highlighted is an emissary of the group's accomplishments, carrying that symbol for the rest of their graduation class into the world to remind you of that cohort's collective impact on society. While I'm very proud and honored to be here tonight receiving this individual honor, I'm certainly mindful of those I believe and from my cohort are way more deserving and called to do great things. Dedicated humans who change lives every day through public education, through teaching, leading a congregation, serving as a first responder in the military, or saving lives through acute medical care, and especially on the next day after we celebrate the 75th anniversary of Capital University's nursing program. For alums in the room, my charge is simple. It's for you to continue to make good works in the world, to make that cohort of grads proud you once walked across this graduation stage with, and leave a legacy in your profession and communities you call home that others should aspire to emulate. In that way, be emboldened to be good stewards of your graduating class's story. Yes, in radiant splendor shine, as Capital University graduates continue to be professional, civic, and faith leaders called upon to change the world, leaving indelible impressions of goodwill upon others in the process. Thank you once more to the Alumni Board, President Tice, for this honor, and congratulations again to tonight's honorees.
The Distinguished Alumnus Awards are given for recognition of the life, work, and character of the university's most outstanding alumni for exemplary service to the university, society, or the church, or notable accomplishments and remarkable professional achievement, profound service to humankind, or both. The nominees for these awards must be out of college for a minimum of 15 years. And now, let's introduce the first of our Distinguished Alumnus Award recipients for 2025.
Bob came to Capitol to play football and to learn how to make a living. And he did both of those. And in football, he had a stellar career. Most valuable freshman, made all conference a couple of times. Most importantly, he was elected captain by his teammates in his senior year. While he was at Cap, something else more important happened. Bob found Jesus, and it changed his life.
I first met Bob at church, a church we were visiting for the first time. We walked in the door to a sea of people, of course, all strangers. And within seconds, someone broke from the crowd, approached me, and held out his hand. It was Bob. We shook hands and started talking, and quite honestly, we haven't stopped talking since that day.
Well, first of all, Bob's a very inquisitive person. So I think that as far as research goes, he's one of these people looking for answers. He spends a lot of time with his students, both his graduate students and his undergraduate students. And I think he really enjoys that personal contact with individuals.
Doing a PhD was beyond my wildest dreams, and Bob was there to coach and mentor me and help me a great deal. I think he's very caring, committed, and inspiring.
As teammates for 3 years, you could always count on Bob to do what he was supposed to do when he was supposed to do it and fight to the finish.
A group of us graduate students had a mannequin. His name was Howard Stuckley. And we used to do surprise visits to different professors at Penn State, put Howard in his office and that. And the reactions of those professors was priceless. But Bob always shared it with great humor. And he was just happy to make somebody laugh during the day.
When we were playing Otterbein at home last game of the season, and some pranksters from Otterbein came over here and burned a huge 0 for Otterbein in the middle of our field. We came out on Saturday morning and saw that, and we were really, really mad. And we sort of made a vow, I don't know whose idea it was, but they just burned their score into the field. we shut them out. Capital 13, Alumni nothing. Of course, Bob, as he did in every game, he came up really big.
He is in the Capital University Football Hall of Fame. And that is quite an achievement, but it's not something Bob ever told me. I found it out on my own when I was researching for a research paper he had published.
You know, Bob influenced literally thousands of people, thousands of students. He had a wine course at Penn State, which many people took. It was one of the most popular courses at Penn State. And he influenced many people through that course. And Bob loved teaching that and just sharing his knowledge with others at Penn State.
His sphere of positive influence spans something much greater, really the globe, both professionally and personally. He's an internationally respected expert on practices that improve the quality, nutrition, and safety of fruits, vegetables, and of course, mushrooms. He is still, even after retirement, partnering and consulting with scientific collaborators, Japan, Europe, United States, as well as a number of his former graduate students who have moved on yet still remain in close contact.
Bob, congratulations on your Distinguished Alum Award. Well deserved. I want to thank you for the mentorship that you've provided me over these last 40 or so years in the Department of Food Science at Penn State. I always appreciate sitting down and talking with you, and wish you good luck.
Congratulations, Bob. Well deserved. I'm really happy for you. I know you spoke highly of Capital while I was at Penn State, and we shared many stories. Well deserved. I'm glad you and Nancy should be very proud, and can't wait to hear and talk to you more after the services. All the best, Bob. Congratulations.
Dr. Bob, congratulations on this great award you're getting tonight. You're very deserving. I can't think of a better candidate for this award. Good luck to you and Nancy in the future.
Congratulations on receiving this distinguished award. When I saw that it was presented to very few, and those who exemplifies those attributes of achievement and community contributions, we honestly all live our lives hoping that our achievements and our contributions are meaningful. Yours have been, and I know will continue to be. You've spent your career discovering ways to improve health and well-being of people and our world, and you've shared your knowledge around the globe. You've developed the next generation of explorers, and you've reached out to those in need. You have impacted countless lives in your wisdom and welcoming demeanor, including mine. I am blessed and humbled to call you a friend. On behalf of both Susie and myself, congratulations, Bob, for earning this well-deserved recognition.
It is our honor to welcome Robert Bielman to our group of distinguished alumni.
Well, after watching that, I owe a lot of people money. But the first guy you saw was Roger Davis, who was a teammate of mine on the football team. And in fact, believe it or not, I came here to play football because everybody knows this was a football powerhouse, right? And I was waiting to hear from Woody Hayes, and he never called. But anyway, the first thing I learned was that if you're going to be a defensive tackle, you better learn how to take on a double team. And Coach Landrum, which was the line coach, he taught us how to do that. And the reason for that is they usually send two guys out to block you, and they try to push you out of the way, and hopefully push you into the linebacker and take him out of the play too. But the guy that played linebacker behind me was a man named Gary Mahler, who the name sounds like he mauled people, really. But Gary had a sort of a situation. He had polio when he was a child, and one leg was only half as big as the normal leg. But he didn't let that slow him down, so it gave me incentive to always play the best I could and keep those guys off of it. Well, then classes started, and I was enrolled as a pre-dent student for whatever reason. I still don't know. But I was thrown in with a pre-med curriculum, and I soon realized I was in way over my head, and I was going to have to really buckle down or not make it. But what I found out was that the profs that were there in the biology and chemistry and whatever really took their craft seriously, and they were on us all the time and tried to have us be able to figure out how to do things that were out of the ordinary and whatever. And there was no teaching assistants, there were no large classes. But one day in my early junior year, I was walking down the hall and Professor Myers called me into his office, and he didn't look happy. And he said, "Bob, something's going on, but you're not living up to what you have been in the past. I don't know what's going on. In fact, I even noticed that on the football field, you're not holding your own like you did." And I was crushed. And the only word I remember at the end of the conversation was finish strong. And so that has stood with me. So you start something, finish it strong. Well, also my junior year, something happened. I decided, as Roger mentioned, I was selected to be a co-captain of the football team. I was supposed to go to dental school at the end of that year. And I figured out I wasn't really meant to be a dentist. And plus, I kind of wanted to see that captaincy through. So I decided to finish and get a bachelor's degree in biology. But one thing I didn't realize was to graduate from Capital back then, you had to have 12 credits of religion. And I wasn't going to take religion if I didn't have to. So there I was, 12 credits. So the first course I took was called Introduction to Christianity. Professor Alice Schimpf taught it in the basement of the library. And I kind of liked it, actually. And I remember one day she talked about the Trinity, which I'd heard before, but she made it come alive. And when I left class that day, I was walking from the library to Lehman Hall, which isn't here anymore, but that's where the mailboxes were. I was going over to get my mail. And halfway across, something really strange happened. I had a divine encounter. And I remember I had an overwhelming emotional feeling. But I fought it off because I saw the Lehman Hall in the background, and so I went on and got my mail and whatever. And I realized that C.S. Lewis, if any of you remember, the famous British writer, he said he had the same thing happen to him when he was in the sidecar of his brother's motorcycle riding outside of Oxford. Well, that's what happened to me. And he called it the Hound of Heaven, was chasing him down. Well, he didn't chase me down for 10 years, but he did. And I'll never forget that. Also, then, my senior year, 3 weeks before graduation, I had no idea what I was going to do. And I had worked for Dr. Zimfer in his lab as a lab assistant, and he was doing some work with food. So I learned a little bit. And a guy that came up to me and told me that he met this professor from Ohio State that was in food science, and he gave me his card, and I called him. He asked me to come over, and I went over, and when I got there, he said, "Bob, I've been looking for somebody like you." And of course, he could sell an ice box to an Eskimo. But he offered me a fellowship, and he said, you don't have, we actually pay you to go to graduate school. So I was there 4 years and got 2 degrees there. And then I was looking for a job, and this job at Penn State came up. I had to look on the map to figure out where State College was. But I eventually made my way over there, and lo and behold, they offered me a job. And 55 years later, here I am. I was on the faculty for 40 years and then retired, and then I've been retired 15 years, and I'm doing the best I can to finish strong. So thank you very much for honoring me.
I've known Tim for about 30 years. Back in the 90s, they had a teacher education program here at Capitol. And as part of that responsibility, I supervised or advised those secondary education students. And one day, this plan to be lawyer, Tim, came into my office and said he wanted to change his major from pre-law to secondary social studies education. And the rest is kind of history.
Tim Dye is one of the most dedicated people I know. He gives everything when he believes in something, whether it's family, friends, or his job, which has defined him for as long as I know.
Tim's a very rare breed of teacher that I think cares, wants them to get the best quality of content that they could possibly get, but also takes time to make sure that they're doing well, and takes time to make sure that he's educating the whole child, not just worried about the content itself.
Kind, considerate, compassionate, humble, gentle, patient, caring, reflective, thoughtful, understanding, really a sincere desire to make a difference in the lives of others. Those are my best descriptions of Tim.
So in my time working with Tim, we started just working in the classroom, kind of close, and then eventually we ended up being across the hall from each other. And so during passing periods, we would get to talk just about how class was going or just life in general, and then that evolved into us actually carpooling together. We both lived on the south side of Indianapolis, but when it comes to Tim, it's not the single thing. It's the culmination of them. It's the fact that we've been friends for so long, and we've built up that trust and that professional and personal relationship to where we can talk in shorthand and we just get it. And so that to me is the most invaluable thing in the world.
Capitol University is literally in Tim Dye's DNA. His parents met at Capitol. He, of course, went to Capitol. His wife is not a Cap grad, but he did propose to her on campus, so there'd be meaning for her and them together as a couple. His sister is also a graduate, as well as her daughter. Cap family is literal for him, and he has spread the word of Capitol to so many graduating classes in Indiana. I don't even know how many kids he's sent to Columbus to check out Capitol University. It's in his classroom, it's his backdrop.
He stepped into a void that existed in his community, right? He teaches at a majority minority school, right? We're a very high English language learner population. And so he saw this kind of gap that existed between the needs of his students and what was being provided. And he stepped wholeheartedly into that gap to try to bridge the gap between the language barrier that a lot of his students were facing and the needs of the content of the graduation requirement that existed at that school. And he's done such a great job that he's become a national figure in the world of economic education. He is known. He presents to national audiences for national organizations on how to teach econ to English language learners and just how to teach econ in general. Last year, he won what is called the Morton Award for Outstanding Economic Educator.
He really pays attention to those students who need that extra care. You know, Tim is the son of a pastor and a social worker. He looked to Dr. Height as a mentor, so he has all of those best qualities of really meaningful, dedicated people. So, you know, he makes his classroom a safe space. Parents will fight to have their kids in the classroom. And again, he sees a community need and he'll fill it. He's really taken on an immigrant population in his area, helping education with banking and business and way above and beyond what people think of a typical teacher doing.
Timothy Dye, this university could not be any more delighted than to have you as one of its graduates. You had devoted your career to ensuring the best for your students through your devotion to them and for your ongoing thirst for existing and new knowledge. I know that your family is so very proud of you, as your father would be. Sincere congratulations.
Tim, congratulations, buddy. I know Capital University means the world to you. I know that this honor means the world to you. Enjoy it. Take it in and just celebrate it. Know that you earned it. And we all really care a lot about you and are super happy for you.
Tim, I can't think of anyone who deserves this award more than you, not just because of your accomplishments as an educator, as an important member of your community, as a dedicated father and brother and son, but because of Capital. You embody it. Anyone who knows you knows how much Capital means to you. It has been my privilege to see you grow from kind of that rebellious kid in an Umbros to, you know, a dedicated teacher and amazing dad. And thank you for letting me be a part of your night.
It is our honor to welcome Timothy Dye to our group of distinguished alumni.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be honest, standing here as this distinguished alumni feels a little surreal. When I hear that title, I imagine somebody who's a lot more polished, maybe somebody who actually made it through BTR with dignity. So yeah, I've got a healthy dose of imposter syndrome tonight, but I am incredibly honored and a little bit shocked to be here today. Capital shaped me in ways I'll never forget. Professors like Dr. Height, Dr. Jones, Dr. Marukas, and Dr. Smith weren't just teachers, they were guides who somehow convinced me to think deeper, work harder, and aim higher. And then there was President Josiah Blackmore. His warmth and leadership made Capital feel less like a university and more like a family. And for me, that sense of family has stuck with me ever since. Speaking of family, I want to thank my wife, Sarah, for being here. She has zero connection to Capital or the state of Ohio until I proposed to her outside of Sailor Ackerman. So she's tied to both, sorry. I also want to thank my family of Cap grads, my mom, my dad, my sister Christy, and my niece Megan. Thank you to my brother Jamie for being here tonight and celebrating with me. And a special shout out to KP and Rashad from my Capital days, proof that friendships that you make here really do last a lifetime, even if they still remind you of all the dumb things you did in college. And then Dr. Height. If you ever had him, you know. This man had expectations so high, I swear he was grading us on oxygen consumption. But from him, I learned one of the greatest lessons of my life. When you lower your expectations for someone, you're really saying that you don't believe in them, and nothing could be more insulting than that. That idea has guided me ever since. Perhaps the biggest gift Capital gave me was learning to use my voice, not just for myself, but for others. In my work with Burmese refugees, I've met people who've lost almost everything, including their confidence in what they can become. But when I look at them, I see strength and resilience and incredible potential. And that perspective came from here, because Capital once looked at me, saw more than I believed I was capable of, and helped me grow into that. Capital taught me to show up, to care deeply, and to lead passionately. When people ask where I go to college, I tell them proudly. In my classroom, I talk about Capital University all the time. And wherever I go, I will always say very loud and proud, I am purple on purpose. Thank you.
I met Denny back in August of 1972, 53 years ago, on the football practice field at Capital University. We were freshmen, 2 defensive tackles, competing for the same job. We just hit it off. We did everything together. We had classes together. We were roommates for 3 years.
He and I worked together almost 50 years ago at the accounting firm of Ernst & Ernst, which is now Ernst & Young. And we just hit it off. Denny's a lot of fun to be around. So we had ended up, we'd go to lunches together, certainly, and we ended up playing on the same softball team. Our wives got to know each other, so that kind of evolved into weekend events with our families. And then we started doing vacations together and golf trips together. My wife and I even went to the Fruiterman family reunion one year, and that was a blast.
My father is a verb, an adjective, a noun, all the things. He is, first and foremost, very loyal. He is very compassionate. A lot of people may not see that side of him. He's boisterous, he's confident, but he really is all around mesmerizing.
Capital gave him the education and the professional foundation for his career. But I tell you, it also shaped his values of being a leader, having integrity, and service. One other important thing that he got from Capital was he met his wife, Debbie, there. They met at Capital, they dated for a couple years. After a couple years after graduation, they got married. They have 2 beautiful girls, Krista and Kara. They got 2 great son-in-laws, Cash and Sean. And without Debbie, he wouldn't be where he is today.
Well, Denny was the first person in his family to go to college. And he came here to play, to play football and to learn how to make a living. And I think the first thing he was trying to do when he started out was to make a better life for himself and his family. I think that was job one. He took care of that pretty quickly, and he branched out to help people who needed it and to back causes that he cared about.
He's a tremendous guy. Great family man, great man of faith. He's the hardest working man I know.
He loves to please people. He loves to serve his community. He just likes to help people. His motor never stops.
He will take the chance to public speak at any time. Like, every microphone loves him. But at the end of the day, he's just really motivational, and he jumps between working from home and in the office, and there's just a different energy in the office when he's there, and people just have a better day, I think, knowing that he's there.
We were on the scout team, and we always had to go practice with the first team offense. And the head coach at the time was Gene Slaughter. And after practice one day, he brings the whole team together. And I'll never forget this one day. He came up to me and he put his arm around me and said, "Fruiterman, you did a hell of a job today." And I looked at him and said, "Thanks, Coach." So he went around to other players and he came up to Denny, put his arm around him and said, "Deets, you did a heck of a job today. Appreciate the effort." He looked at Coach and said, "Thanks, Coach." And I'll never forget this moment that Denny and I looked at each other and we just smiled.
Before I worked at H-Plex, when I was dabbling and thinking about becoming a property manager, he had me come on a work trip with him. And it was to Frederick, Maryland. of all places. So we had a client there, Frederick Memorial Hospital, and they did strategic planning there. They were there for a few years, so they got to know a lot of the staff there. And they actually even would throw Christmas parties with H-Plex and with that client. And everybody was talking about the bonefish, and they're like, you have to come to the bonefish after this workday. And I'm like, okay. So we walk into the bonefish. The bartender is calling him the senator. Like, everybody in the whole restaurant knows him. He like goes up to the bar. The chef comes out from back after he realizes Denny's there and gives him a chef outfit with his name on it, with a hat and everything. I'm just like, what is going on here? He was like a local celebrity, and they called him the senator because everybody said he was polarizing and he should basically run for office. So that was just something that I was like, well, I have to come work for him now.
Denny is very dedicated to Capital University. He's actually one of Capital's game changers. He's put a lot of time, talent, and treasure into Capital. You know, serving on the Board of Trustees for 16 years, being the board chair for 4 years, giving a commencement speech, endowing a scholarship, raising money for the football team. You know, Denny has put a lot of work, a lot of points on the scoreboard for Capital University. Denny, congratulations on being selected as a distinguished alumnus of Capital University. I can't think of a person who's more deserving. You've given a lot to the university, and really proud of you. It was a pleasure to know you.
Denny, congratulations on this outstanding award you've received from Capital. You are so well deserving, and I am so proud of you and happy to be your friend for all these years, and certainly have enjoyed the ride. So best of luck going forward, and I'm proud of you, buddy.
Hey, brother, congratulations. I'm really proud of you for everything that you've done. You really deserve this award. But I just want to talk to you about when you called me and asked that, hey, I'm getting the award. I'd like you to give me a few comments on an interview. And I said, Dan, I'll do anything that you want. He said, hey, all I ask is that would you just keep it clean for everybody? And I said, well, yeah, I do that. He started laughing. I started laughing. Hey, guy, you're the greatest in my book. Enjoy the day. Give Deb a hug. I love you, buddy. Go Cap.
Dad, I'm just really happy for you, and this award is just so deserving for you. As I know you as dad, I know you as Deo to my kids. I know you as a loving husband to my mom, and just an overall great dad to Krista and I. So we're just so happy for you, and it's just very well deserved to have this award. So congratulations.
It is our honor to welcome Denny Frudeman to our group of distinguished alumni.
I had to bring this up with me because I can't believe it, so I'm not going to let go of it. I want to thank Capital University. I want to thank the Alumni Association for this unbelievable honor. I never would have guessed I'd be standing here tonight. In fact, to verify this, when Amy called me several weeks ago and said, Denny, I'm happy to announce you have been selected to receive the Distinguished Alumni Award. And we talked for a while, and I was sitting on my back deck at my house, and my wife Debbie was sitting next to me. And I hung up, and she goes, Denny, what was that all about? I said, Deb, you're not going to believe this. I said, I've just been told that I'm going to receive this award. I said, Deb, when we went to Capitol, did you ever believe I could be standing up here and getting this award? And she didn't miss a beat and said, Denny, I never thought you would graduate. There's a lot of truth to that statement, believe me. You know, I watched that video, and it was awesome. And I don't really try to think back on what I've done. I like to always think forward. But it was really awesome. And I've had a lot of time to think through this over the last several weeks, just about my life in growing up in Canton, Ohio, a family with a father as a policeman, a mother as a secretary of a church, and having the opportunity to be at Capitol. And people ask me a lot. They said, Denny, what really motivates you? What motivates you to go forward and do the things you do? And you know what? It's not money. It's not these awards. There's 3 words that motivate me: Debbie, Krista, and Kara. It's my 2 daughters and my wife. And every morning I wake up, what motivates me is to do something that day to make them proud of me. And that's my energy. That's the plug in my cell phone that gets me going every day. And everybody here, I want to tell you, no matter how old you are, young or old, when you take your head off the pillow every morning, you have a decision to make, because life is not a straight line. I've had many tragedies. I've had many failures in my life. It's not a straight line. I can attest to that. And I've also had some very good things. It's a roller coaster. And your decision is, am I going to wake up today and try to do something positive for somebody else, whether it's my wife, my kids, my community, my job, my employees, or am I going to wake up today and do nothing? And I would tell you, for every moment you're on this earth, please wake up and set yourself a goal to do something positive for somebody. It changes your life, it changes your attitude, and it makes you a great person. So as I thought back about this award, and I thought back about my career, I go back to thinking this. You know, everybody's experienced this. When you're 18 years old and you graduate from high school, you're making a decision. It's one of your decisions that could be life-changing. Whether, first decision, am I going to go to college or am I not? If I don't go to college, what do I want to do with my life? What job do I want to have? That will guide you somewhere. If I go to college, where do I want to go to college and why? And you know, I knew I wanted to go to college. I wanted to play football in college. And yes, Woody Hayes did call me. And he said, Denny, I'm going to give you some advice. The advice I'll give you is you need to call Coach Gene Slaughter and talk to him, because that's where you belong. Not in Division I, but Division III. And I'm happy to say that I was offered to go to play football in Division III for 5 colleges in Ohio, the top 2 being Wittenberg and Mount Union. And Capitol wasn't on my list until one of my teammates from high school told me he was going there and said, you got to go down and see Capitol University. To be honest with you, in Canton, Ohio, I never heard of Capitol University. But when I walked on this campus, and when I met Gene Slaughter, who was the most unbelievable recruiter ever, and spent the day on this campus, I knew in my heart, this is where I needed to be. That was a great decision I made. I mean, you don't realize it, but that was a game-changing decision, because I've now, because of Capitol, have had a phenomenal opportunity to have a phenomenal career in Central Ohio, which is a great place to grow up, raise your family. But that wasn't the greatest decision. The greatest decision happened in January of 1973, my freshman year, second semester. If those who can remember Lehman Hall, freshmen were all in the dorm at Lehman Hall, big old building with wide hallways. And I was sitting out in the hall one night, as we always used to sit out, and this young little sorority girl comes walking down the hall, and she has a box in her hand, and she's selling donuts. And she comes up to me and says, hey, would you like to buy a donut? And I looked there sort of smugly, a little bit of cocky, and said, well, what's this for? She goes, well, I'm in a sorority, Zeta Pi Lambda, and we have a formal party every year, and we're raising money for the party. And I said, well, why would I buy a donut when I never get to go to these parties? And she says, hey, hotshot, you buy a couple donuts, I'll take you to the party. I ran in my room, got the money, and that was the best $2 I ever spent, because Debbie and I went to that. This is a true story. We went to that event, that formal, dressed up. I had to borrow my roommate's coat and tie. I didn't have a coat and tie. We went, it was off campus. When I dropped Debbie off that night at the dorm, I looked at her and said, I'm going to marry you someday. That's true. So Debbie has been beside me my whole life. I got married to her 30 days after I graduated. Debbie, she stood up. She's celebrating her 50th reunion. Mine's not until next year. So everyone thinks, well, oh, Debbie married a younger man. No, that's not true. I'm 25 days older than Debbie, so I married a younger woman. And I'm glad I did. But Debbie's been by my side. She was by my side at Capitol because I wasn't really going in the right direction educationally. You know, when you go to college and you live away from home, you have to balance classes and books and studying with having some fun, and I had to balance that with football. Well, I did pretty good on this side of the ledger, but on the studying, it wasn't so great. But after meeting her, she taught me how to study. She taught me that getting the education I needed at Capital was important. And for the 3 years we were together on this campus, she was my guiding light to make sure that I got the grades I was able to be able to get a job when I graduated and what I wanted to do. And after graduation, after we got married, Debbie was a teacher. She loved teaching. She absolutely loved teaching. She was a great teacher. But when we had our first child, Krista, 5 years after we got married, she decided to say, Daddy, I think I need to retire from teaching because I want to be a mother and raise the family. And so Debbie retired from teaching, and she was the mother, full-time mother, which is for Krista and Kara, which gave me the opportunity to be able to work as hard as I have to accomplish the goals that I've accomplished with her at my side and always understanding what it takes to be successful. So Debbie, I want to say something in closing. This award isn't my award. Excuse me. This award's our award. I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to etch your name on it because you are my most distinguished alumni. Thank you, Debbie, for everything you've given me in your life. Thank you. Lastly, as a proactive thinker, and I am, and I tell our folks at work all the way, one of our culture things is think proactively, think ahead. And so for the first time, and those who will understand this, who have been a Capital alum, for the first time, I'm going to say something I've never said before, and I'll always say it going forward. Thank you, everybody, for this evening. Thank you for this, and go Comets. Thank you.
This evening, we highlighted many outstanding alumni and expressed our gratitude for the support of our reunion classes. I'd like to ask tonight's award recipients to stand, and for any previous recipients of the Alumni Achievement, Distinguished Service, and Young Alumni Awards, and previous Honorary Alumni Award winners to join them as well. Let's give them all one more round of applause. Thank you. Finally, as is our tradition, we will close our dinner by singing our alma mater. The words are printed on the back of your program and will also be on the screens behind me. We'll sing one verse, and I ask that you join me in an a cappella version. O Capital, to thee we pledge devotion. In every heart we'll build for thee a shrine, until from ocean side to endless ocean, thy name alone in radiant splendor shine. Until from ocean side to endless ocean, thy name alone in radiant splendor shine. Congratulations to each of our award winners and to all of the reunion classes celebrating this weekend. Most importantly, thanks to each and every one of you for your continued support of our alma mater. We appreciate you joining us here tonight. We ask that the families stay for us for a while so that we can take some photos. Have a wonderful homecoming weekend.